Are you able to take control of the meeting? I am having
Yeah,
trouble signing on. Okay,
all set. I'm signed in
okay,
under the e-NABLE account. We're good.
okay, great.
All right. Thanks for checking, though.
Oh, I see Kate. Are you able to take control of the...
Oh, that was me. Sorry. Hi, Kate. Oh,
Hey, Kate,
Hi there, Sarah. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thanks again for setting this up and connecting us.
Yeah, thank you so much for coming. And I'm so sorry if I drop off, but um, yeah, we've been having a lot of power outages, so hopefully it'll be okay. But if I
No,
disappear,
yeah,
if I disappear, that's why. So
are
that's
you still
no
in?
worries. I
Are you still in
understand that.
Senegal, Sarah?
yeah, yeah.
All
So
right.
um,
What time is it
Sorry
there?
about that.
it is 3 p.m.
Oh, okay.
And I am actually calling in from Germany. I am
Really?
based here. Yes, yes. So Sarah and I are closer in time zone right now.
Yeah, I was going to say it's probably what, 3 or 4 o'clock there?
Actually, it's 5 o'clock,
5 o'clock.
so we're
Okay.
a little bit
A little further
even
east.
farther along. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And where are you? And sorry, your name
I'm
is?
Jeremy. I'm one of the co-founders here, and I'm based in Illinois, so Central Time Zone. It's 10 a.m. here.
Great. Well, it's nice to meet you, Jeremy. I have
Likewise.
looked it up, and it's a very exciting organization. So,
Yeah, yeah. I'm so glad to have you today. I think Sarah mentioned we have quite a few posts to go through from the hub, and I will do that as quickly as possible, and
oh
then
yeah,
the rest of the session is yours.
no
So let's
worries.
go
That's
ahead and
great.
I'm going to go ahead and get started so we don't take any more time than needed on this, and we'll move through these pretty quickly. Give me just a moment to rearrange some windows here. Okay. All right. So let's see. I think we are recording, and so welcome to another town hall. We're just, as I was just saying, we're going to go through some of these hub posts, and then the bulk of today will be a special presentation from Kate, who's with Day Undefined. Looking forward to that. So first post is from Christoph. And we're kind of covering a couple of weeks here because or a couple of more than a couple of weeks because we missed the last session. Please advise what can be done in a case like in the attached photo. A solution like naked prosthetics would be ideal, but it's too expensive. Yeah, so these are always tricky where there's partial digits left that need to be accommodated by the device. I see a couple of suggestions here already. Hero Gauntlet from Open Bionics, and I'm not familiar with that one. Yep. Okay, so it sounds like they've gotten some good ideas already, and I'm not sure I can add to this one because I'm really just, my familiarity is mainly with the existing e-NABLE designs, and I know when you try to scale one of those designs to fit on a hand like this, it ends up being too large in comparison with the rest of the person's anatomy, so it sort of looks awkward. So I think the input that has already been provided here by Rian and Jack is probably the best that we can offer right now. So I'm going to leave it at that. Jonathan or anyone else have anything to add? A Schultz, welcome. Are you with Day Undefined? Don't recognize that name. Okay, I'm going to assume that's part of Kate's team. On we go. Daniela, Epics. Let's see. Group of students in the Epics program, Engineering Projects and Community Service. Very cool. In Arizona, at Arizona State University, looking for people in need of mechanical prosthetic devices. So yeah, it's a common request and a common challenge for us right now. Um, this has been the case for some time now. We have more volunteers than we have people actually asking for devices. And so it leaves us with a sort of a difficulty in getting our volunteers engaged the way we want to. We in the past had a better sort of list of active requests for devices. we have a number of initiatives in progress right now to address this challenge, but they take time. We're building out a whole new website with a new matching platform, which will then work on doing promotion and marketing to get the word out there to the Lim Different community so that we can bring people into that new platform, get some pins on the map, get people linked up with volunteers. That's all in progress. We're just not there yet. I would say it's still several months out, unfortunately. We've had some turnover in the team working on that. So we'll do our best, but for right now, I'm afraid, the best answer that we have that we tell people is, check our chapters map, reach out to some of the chapters in your region, see if they might have cases that you can help with. Reach out to local organizations, schools, churches, synagogues, etc. Can be a good place to find people that might benefit from our work, and just kind of put the word out in your community. So I wish we could offer something more, but that's kind of where we're at right now. Oops.
I just want to just one thing.
Yeah.
I think A. Schultz is the chapter leader in Cincinnati. So thank
Oh,
you
okay.
for joining us. So
Are you there? I don't know what the first name is. A. Schultz. Are you able
and
to?
Andrew,
Andrew, okay.
I think
You're
I
you're
think it.
muted right now. Are you able to introduce yourself? You might have stepped away. Okay, we'll come back to Andrew. All right, next one here is Unlimited Arm. I think we covered this one before. I ran this through translation. They're basically looking for some assistance, and Thierry in e-NABLE France already and he offered to help. So I think that one's covered. I don't remember exactly what the translation was, but I think that one's already been handled. Rian in Uganda. Recently got into contact with Peter Odama from the World Action Fund, a nonprofit in Uganda. They are in contact with almost 400 people in need of upper limb prosthetics across the country. And so it looks like they're seeking help with this campaign, and there's an email address and phone number for WhatsApp. They put up a proposal on Lumio to help give 5 different chapters a hand, basically splitting up donations from the Vancouver chapter. That proposal got approved recently. I know I shared the results of that, so that's all been handled. And there are some offers here from people wanting to contribute, so that's good. I don't know that there's anything for us to add here. Any comments, questions, anyone? I think that one looks like it's in good shape. Okay, on we go. I'm going to try to move quickly through these because I want to leave as much time as possible for Dan to find. I think this is on a related note. Yep, this is the proposal for splitting up those funds, which is voting is already concluded and it was approved, so that's done. Christina Handcamp, STEM teacher from New York, been printing, assembling, and donating Phoenix prosthetics hands for the last 7 years. Congratulations. Each year we make 5 hands, been donating to children in need who attend a hand camp. Okay, very nice. I'm having trouble connecting this year. Okay, I suspect that connection might have been facilitated through a partner organization run by Maria Escuela, who we really haven't had contact with in quite some time, and I'm not sure if that organization is still active or not. Sarah, it looks like you already responded from Dedicated Makers, searching for recipients. So yeah, this is just what we talked about. And I think John is a good suggestion since he's based in New York. Hopefully he'll see this and respond. I don't know that I can add anything here, unfortunately. Like I said, this is a common challenge right now of kind of helping to be able to connect our volunteers with people seeking devices, and we are definitely working to solve that challenge. It's just going to take some more time. Sunny forearm piece. Let's see. Does anyone have a solution for if the forearm piece of the unlimited arm is too big to fit on the printer? Yes, we have had people that have provided a split models for that. I wonder if anyone linked that here. Looks like this might be a version. Yes. Okay. So here's a forearm joint that you can use to split that forearm piece into a couple of pieces. And it looks like I see a dovetail joint here, but if I'm understanding this correctly, they would have to just glue the other pieces along the flat edge here. That's what it looks like anyway. So let's see, can be inserted into the forearm component, allowed to be printed in 2 parts. Okay. So yeah, I'm just wondering about that seam of, if that glue is going to hold along the flat edge there, but I'm assuming this has been tested, so, oh, there's a PDF here. I'm just going to take a quick look at this. Oops. Oh, it's just text. Okay. I'm not going to take the time to read through that. I thought it might have some images showing how it all goes together. So I'm going to move on because it looks like somebody already has shared that split design. Nicholas, research, doing research for the University of Bolivia. I'd like to interview people who've used e-NABLE Phoenix 3. How can I arrange a meeting? Well, unfortunately, I think he did the right thing, which is to post in the hub. It's a little disappointing that nobody has responded. And I think that just goes to another issue that, we have a lot of volunteers in the hub. I don't think we have so many device users in the hub, which is unfortunate. And that would be part of that outreach effort, trying to get them more plugged in. When we work with somebody, I think it's important to encourage them to get plugged in on the hub so that they can be a part of helping to make designs better, helping to provide feedback, engaging with the community. We want them to be part of the innovation process. So that's something that we will try to address through our communications through our website and training materials and that sort of thing. But I don't know what else to tell Nicholas right now other than to maybe post another message saying, hello, can anybody help here? I don't know. Sarah, is Sarah still with us? Sarah, do you have any ideas about, the only other thing I can think of is maybe reach out to chapters to see if they could connect you with people. I don't know if that would be any more successful. What do you think?
Um, I mean, I don't know. I can try to help them
Yeah. I mean, if you
find some
if you have
people.
any ideas, please feel free. I'm not sure how else we can help other than what he already did, which is posting on the hub. So I'll have to leave it at that for now. John Carbonhand. John Schull shares apparently a new device or design. Now that looks commercial to me, is it? Let's see. Hand strength. So it's applied force up to 20 newtons per finger. My goodness. Okay, so this is for people that have fingers, but they're lacking grip strength, which is something that we have had needs for. This could perhaps be reverse engineered for elbow activation. Interesting. Oh, here's a link where we can maybe see a little bit more. Okay, so this is an assistive aid to give power back to people with impaired hand function. I'm looking for any note about whether this is some kind of it looks like it's a commercial device. I'm not seeing any details about how people get one. I mean, I see if they're U.S. veterans, providers. Not seeing anything about pricing or, let's see, getting started guide, introducing, making adjustments, connecting to the app. My goodness, this is something rather advanced. Well, it looks very cool. I'm wondering how, I assume there's a price associated with this, and I'd be curious about how expensive, but I don't want to spend too much time here. So I'd encourage others to check this out. At the very least, things like this can be a good way of just getting ideas and looking at whether we might be able to borrow at least certain aspects and make them into something more, makeable by volunteers. So it's a very cool looking device, though. And we're going to move on here. Eric, kinetic arm. Yes, I think I shared this before, but this is a very exciting design which has now been released. I certainly hope that this has already been added. I see that Eric Bubar is the one sharing this, and he's the one maintaining our catalog over on what is it? Is it Printables? I can't remember the name of the site where he's maintaining that, but I assume he already has added this in there. But the kinetic arm is a very cool looking arm, as you can see here. and they have done just an incredible job, as they always have in the past, in terms of documentation. I think he said that the documentation, the assembly, you know, the manual for this, so to speak, I think is several hundred pages. So it's not just an assembly guide. They shared all of their intellectual, you know, property, everything that went into this, which I just think is incredible, as a way of helping continued, you know, innovation. And it is being shared as open source. So very exciting, and just congratulations to the team there at Free 3D Hands. Really great work. Brandy, about a printer problem, having issues with an Ender 3 printer, and it looks like she's already gotten quite a few good answers on this, so I don't think I'm going to spend more time. She's already responded saying thanks, so it looks like she's gotten help, and hopefully it's enough to solve her issue, so I'm going to let that stand as is. Let's see, Coastline
Has-
Maker. Oh, yeah.
Tenora has joined us from Brazil, so I
Oh,
just
hi,
wanted to
Tanar.
say hi.
Yeah, welcome. So glad you could join. We're just going through a few more posts on the hub here, and then we'll be handing things over to our special guest of the day, Day Undefined. Coastline Makers, trying to make a custom Nick finger for somebody missing parts of his. Notice the OpenSCAD fields only allow whole numbers. Okay. Andrew offered up some guidance here. I think the customizer allows decimals if the original parameter in the source code has a decimal value. Okay, so you can look at the source. So I think that's really good guidance to look into the source code, which hopefully they were able to do. I don't see any response here from Coastline Makers, but it looks like a good response. So I'm going to leave that one as is too. I'm sure they'll post again if that doesn't solve the issue. Miggy from Philippines. Tried to look for active chapters and volunteers here, but couldn't find any. Can anyone help? I need to make an arm from below the elbow to the hand for my 11-year-old friend. Okay. Whoever does the design will need measurement photos, and they link to the tutorial. Good. And they're asking if they just want somebody to build an arm and ship it, or if they're looking to make it themselves. It looks like she is interested in having one made. Let's see. Somebody created a case for this on e-NABLE Web Central. Thank you, Miggy. Let's see. Addie says that they've received the picture and currently manufacturing the arm. Great. Looks like this has gone exactly as we would hope, and they are in communication and hooked up with a maker, so that's good. On we go. Rokaya, Egypt. Connected to this case, 57-year-old factory worker in Cairo, accident that resulted in partial hand amputation. Again, some challenging anatomy there because of the residual portion of a finger, a thumb there that's going to have to be fit. So there's been a request for sizing photos. But yeah, I think this is going to need to be some kind of a custom design. There are some designs that have an opening for an existing thumb, but they, you know, they're imperfect. It's very difficult to maintain function without interfering with the movement of that digit. I know the kinetic hand is available with a thumbless version that has an opening for that to go through, and I wonder if that would be a good place to start. But it looks like they are in the process of gathering the sizing photos that are needed. So we're gonna wait for that, I think, and go from there. Okay, Slane and Cutter. Case of a 3-year-old girl who would need, according to me, a NIOP THS. Okay, that's one I haven't seen for a while. Yeah, because it's above elbow. Ari again says that they're, I don't know if this is a he or she, but they're building a NIOP THS for someone else right now. And does have capacity to take this. That's wonderful. Don't think it's a good idea to build the arm. Is taking to an expert on NIOP arms, and they said that building arms for extremely young children is often a bad idea and can cause permanent damage. Advised to wait until the child is older. Okay, well and I don't disagree with that, but this is just another example of why we strongly encourage people to make sure that there is a professional involved in cases like this, especially where children are involved. You definitely want to be working with a professional prosthetist or similar to get that kind of advice. But otherwise, I think erring on the side of caution is always good. So that looks like it's being handled well. Matt, education. New member of e-NABLE and a K through 5 STEM educator in Oregon. Love to hear about how educators are incorporating these e-NABLE devices into STEM service learning. Let's see. Doesn't look like anyone has shared the open source curriculum materials, which I think is worth sharing here. So under our link list in the hub, this e-NABLE education space is a really wonderful collection of fully open source editable curriculum materials by grade level designed around the e-NABLE program and connecting in with sort of meaningful service-oriented learning. And just I think the teacher that put this together, Lindsay, did a wonderful job on this. So I'm just going to quickly share a link to this because I think that might be helpful. On we go. Matt, MakerBot sketch printers. District has invested in a number of MakerBot sketch printers. They seem to generally work well, but I'm wondering about their suitability for fabricating components. So yeah, I have experience with the sketch printers. They are really best suited for PLA or tough PLA. Our recommended material is generally PETG because of temperature resistance and strength benefits. But as long as you're careful about the situation that it's going into, for example, if you're making a device for a younger person, especially, in a region that doesn't get extraordinarily hot, like many parts of the US, then PLA or tough PLA might be fine because, among other things, the child is likely to outgrow them before they're going to have any issues anyway, and they'll need a new one. So there are cases where making these devices in PLA or tough PLA would be fine. It's also worth noting that we have a number of other types of assistive devices that people can be making. If you look for the assistive technology program space in the hub, you'll find it's still very much a work in progress, but you will find a spreadsheet here that has some of the programs that are in effect. You can see we have several states in the US that have assistive tech programs, and you can go to their site and you'll find entire catalogs of devices that you can make. And let's see, IATP makers and product library, and you can see all these different types of assistive devices. Some of these might be a better fit for, something that a sketch printer can handle because it's probably not as important that it have that sort of temperature resistance and that sort of thing. So something like this being made in tough PLA, a lot of these devices would be just fine. I wonder if I could ask, I know you're kind of tied up with things, Sarah. If you have a chance, maybe this would be one where it would be helpful to post a link to this part of the recording, just so I don't have to type everything I just said. If we could maybe respond to Matt's post there with a link to this part of the recording, so he gets that information, that would be really helpful. And okay, that is our flash session of going through hub posts. Sorry to do that so quickly, but I wanted to leave as much time, and that actually took longer than I was hoping. So let me hand things over to Kate with Day Undefined, and the rest of the session is yours.
All right, thanks so much. That was really interesting, and glad to actually learn about all the different projects that you're working on around the world. Very, very interesting. So is it okay? I'm going to go ahead and share my screen.
Yeah, let me just make sure that
okay.
you have, there we go. Yep.
And my co-founder is actually on as well, Liam Doherty.
Welcome.
He is kind of tuning in while he's on the road, unfortunately, with scheduling, but so I don't know how great his connection is, but he is on the call as well and will chime in if he can. All right.
Thanks. Hello, everyone.
Hey, Liam. All right, I am going to put this in present mode here. can you see my screen?
Yes, we do.
Great. All right, so welcome. This is Day Undefined, and our kind of tagline is Everyday Products for Accessible Living. So I'm going to give you a little background. My name is Kate Leader, I'm a white woman with short blonde hair, for those of you who can't see me right now, in my late 30s, and my co-founder, Liam Doherty, there's a photo of him there. He is a white male with brown hair, also in his 30s. And so a little bit about how we met and got started. My older sister has a rare disease called spinocerebellar ataxia. And over the last 20 years, I was helping her to find products to make her life more accessible, support her independence, and was really frustrated and disappointed by the lack of real reviews and real insights that were available. And not that it wasn't possible to find these through, informal communities and networks, but it was really hard to find them in a very consistent, curated way. There were sites where you could find, more medical things, or you could find products, but you didn't have reviews behind them. And now you have things like Amazon, but it's kind of all over the place. So when Liam and I connected, Liam is very involved in the disability community. Liam, if you want to step in, just let me know. And also has a rare disease and understands the frustrations with trying to find products that will work in everyday life. And we connected because we wanted to start making a change in that. And we founded Day Undefined, which is a website that now has over 100 everyday products for accessible living that are reviewed by members of the disability community. We are a cross-disability platform. So there are very different experiences with these products, but for every product on our website, we have a real video, a real photos, and real pros and cons. So you're going to get the truth about how that person's experiencing the product. And we're continuing to grow that and make sure that it's as authentic as possible. We have a team of 20 individuals across with diverse disabilities across the United States and in Canada. And they are the ones who identify the products that make their life more accessible. So the difference here is that we don't kind of put any limitations on what they can say. It makes their life more accessible, right? So we have things like automatic pet feeders. We have all sorts of different technologies and devices that you might not think of as adaptive, but for that person, they've identified that it makes their life more accessible in some way. So it's really up for them to identify what that means. And it puts that back in their control, is to say, this is something that I think makes my life more accessible. This is the problem that we started with, as I just gave you talked about, that there was no real product marketplace that prioritized accessible living from the perspective of the disability community. And we thought that needed to change. And so that's why we started Day Undefined. So I kind of already covered the first of our three approaches, which is the online marketplace that we have. It's dayundefined.com, which now has over 100 product reviews on it. And through this marketplace, we also partner with organizations to bring the marketplace directly to their community through their website, social media, and more webinars, things like that. So one of our partners right now is the National Ataxia Foundation, and we help very much more directly connect their community with these products. But we also do user testing, user experience projects with companies. One of the companies we work with right now is OXO, which makes a lot of kitchen products, and they are invested in trying their products with individuals from the disability community. And we think that's so important because it just makes better products, right? At the end of the day, if you have the feedback from a wider group of people, then you're going to make a better product. And we see that regularly. And as your organization knows well. And then we're also doing webinars and courses and other content to help bring these perspectives back to the health professionals. So occupational therapists, physical therapists, doctors, we're trying to say, by the way, this is how individuals in the disability community identified these products, and this is their experience with it, especially over time. You know, some health professionals might see somebody for a certain period of time, but we also want to try to bring a more long-term perspective to how people use these products. Are these everyday products that they've identified something that they incorporate in their life for a long time or for a short time? You know, what does that look like? So these are sort of our three approaches at the moment. But what's really important, and you'll see in a second here, is that we discover these products with our team. So I'm going to just do a short demonstration, or give you an example here. Ellie, for instance, and I'll just read her quote, was looking around for something to help me whisk without spilling over the bowl. And she found this. You just push down, while other whisking products, you needed to hold the whisk in an uncomfortable position for long periods of time. This
Hey,
tool feels comfortable in my hand. Yeah.
Can I interrupt just for 1 second? I want to make sure that
Sure,
you're sharing. Are you sharing the screen you mean to? Because what we're seeing is your title slide and the present.
Oh no, you haven't seen any of these slides?
I
Oh
no,
boy.
I thought you just hadn't advanced the slide yet. I'm sorry.
No, sorry. Okay, let me stop share. I had a bit of an issue. Let me see. Okay, sorry about that, everyone.
It's okay. It's been wonderful information still. You're doing some amazing work.
All right, let's see if we can get this working. All right.
I can fill in some space there.
Thanks, Liam.
Or there may not be any people. Yeah, I think I just want to, kind of underscore what Kim was saying about how we really prioritize building our network, our community. We're really putting the focus on the individual, and in that way, kind of building from the bottom up. And as Ken did mention, we are working with product manufacturers and occupational therapist organizations to try to expand our network and work a little bit top down. But all that being said, we are taking the focus to the disability community, and our approach is across disability. So while we have our roots in the FA, Friedrich's ataxia community and the ataxia community generally, we're extending things beyond that to many other disabilities, because we understand that there's a lot of cross section in a product that'll work for one disability, and that way we're trying to break down silos that exist in communities, just based on the kind of social aspect of having a particular disability. So,
All right. Let's see here. We might just have to, for some reason, can you see that at least? I might have to just show you not in presenter mode, because I'm having trouble when I enter presenter mode. So
yeah, this is fine. So we're seeing the title slide now, and yes,
great.
now we're seeing
Now do you see our photos?
Yes, we do.
Don't want you to miss those. Okay. So that's myself, Kate, and Liam, co-founders. Here's our problem. And then here were the three approaches that I was talking about. And thanks, Liam, for sharing that and filling in that space there. I appreciate that. So, we do this online marketplace, we do user testing, and we are creating content through webinars and courses and whatnot. And I really appreciate that Liam talked about the intersectionality there. Okay. This is the first product that I wanted to talk about with you. Liam, I didn't cut you off at all. Is there anything else you wanted to say before we dive back into this?
Yeah, that was great, Nancy, the way things.
All right. So we are working to discover products with our team. So we have a running list of interesting products that anyone on our team is welcome to test, but we're not saying that they have to test a certain product. We're only testing products that they think are relevant to their lives. So Ellie was looking around for something to help her whisk without spilling over the bowl, and she found this. You just push down, while other whisking products you needed to hold the whisk in an uncomfortable position for long periods of time. This tool feels comfortable in my hands, and when I use it, I do not spill on the counter. This is key here. We break it down, what her pros are and her cons. It has a comfortable grip. There's no assistance required to set it up. You push down to rotate the whisk, and that minimizes fatigue instead of having to use the circle motion, which also, and this sounds like, requires more sort of coordination. No spilling over the bowl, easy to clean and dishwasher safe, and stainless steel, so no need to worry about bending or breaking. She said it sometimes gets a little bit stuck, but you can, normally it will fix itself. So if you've never seen one of these, which I hadn't, I'll show you the demo here. And I think you get the idea there. And it's cool because the mat that she has it sitting on is actually another product that she reviewed, which I'm sure many of you know is actually just shelf liner cut into a size that helps create more grip on the counter for her. The idea being here, it's I know this isn't necessarily a 3D printed product, but the idea being that we worked, she saw the problem and then she found something that was not what we may have known as how to whisk, but was right for her. And it's sort of rethinking, as Liam has written about in many of our blogs, the process of design, how we approach design. And so I thought this was an interesting example of that. But to take it again to this, another example, we're also writing all this down because we hope that it will help improve designs along the way, right? And help create better products, not only with companies, but in any way that we can, just by putting it out there and letting companies see it as well, or organizations like yours. So for accessibility, little things can make a big difference. The grip, size of buttons, one-handed use, pressure required, motions required, ease of cleaning, storing. And as you know, like all of these things factor not only into whether a person, not only uses the product, but also incorporates it into their daily life over a longer period of time. And then I thought we could talk about sort of each of these scenarios here. Before I do that, Liam, did you want to add anything to what I've said so far?
No, you really hit on the.
Okay. So we have sort of 3 examples here. I know that this is not as complex as the cases that you work on. These are some smaller, kitchen items and everyday items. But it's still a good sort of example as to how different designs have different pros and cons. These are all our own pictures from our website as well. The top images that you see, the one on the left is an orange bag carrier handle, but it's not a 3D printed one. It's a product off Amazon. It's actually called the Mammoth Grip. And our tester, our team member, she used this and compared it to the one on the right, which is a 3D printed one from a state assistive tech program. Actually, which is why I'm really glad that you mentioned those, Jeremy, because they are so important, and many of them are focused on 3D printing, and that is an interesting and important sort of service that they're offering now. And so, but it's what Ellie found is that while she liked the grip on the 3D printed one, she found that the bag carrying handles on either side are quite short. So it has to be really well balanced because she's worried that the bags will slip off. And it doesn't feel quite as strong because I guess if you're worried about a bag slipping off, somehow that also makes you nervous about like the strength in a way. But she loves that it has molded finger grips on the handle itself. And so that's a cool feature to it. The Mammoth grip one, she just sort of describes as feeling quite sturdy and you can put a lot of bags on it. And that one is designed to carry things like paint cans and heavier loads as well. So it is definitely a sort of different feel to it, I think. So that's just one example of a product that we've compared. And then below that, you see two jar openers. And the one on the right is very inexpensive, the green one. And it can open many different sizes of jars. But our reviewer found it harder to use because you have to be able to hold and not necessarily squeeze so hard, but you have to be able to squeeze and hold it while turning. Whereas the one on the left, which is an OXO product, you don't have to squeeze the device itself. It's you push it on and then you turn. And she's found that she can even use that to open things like childproof bottles, vitamin bottles, simply by pushing down and as she does that motion. And those videos are also on our website. I don't have them incorporated into this presentation, but you can see them all there. And that's why we also are really committed to videos, just to give people the chance to see what that looks like in action. And then I wanted to throw out a sort of case study thought. We actually just did a presentation where somebody asked what's good for helping to keep wheelchairs or power chairs dry in the rain. And this is a question that we've actually encountered before. And there are all sorts of attachments out there, but it's really hard to find any that has great reviews. Liam mentioned that, ponchos are one of the best options for really keeping yourself and your mobility device dry. But it was one of those things where there is still a lot of room for finding and creating products that really work and spreading the word, about what works. And so I thought that was an interesting one that was just brought up that was worth talking about. And Liam, do you have anything to add on any of those cases, any of those examples?
Yeah, I want to stress again that price and cost is a really important thing for us, that we curate our product really based on what we anticipate would be useful, or what the community says they think may be useful. And part of that use comes down to the cost that the thing would have if they can afford to bring it into their lives. And while we do pay everyone for the work that they do in reviewing and things, if a thing kind of seems inordinately expensive, then we maybe think twice about recommending that people buy that.
Yeah, that's a great point. Like, for instance, that orange handle in the photo there, that costs around $20. I think it comes in a set of two, but when you can have something 3D printed for free, the fact that maybe it can't hold as many bags, does that make the difference? And cost is a huge factor. Again, the jar opener on the left is much more expensive than the jar opener on the right. And so at the end of the day, the question is, is really what the value is it worth it? Is it worth it? And that's a great point, Liam. And thanks for raising that. So that was really everything we wanted to share, and then we wanted to open it up to conversation and questions, and see what you have to say. Of course, we would love it if you checked out our website, and you can follow us on social media, and or we are constantly regularly posting new videos to our YouTube channel. So if you want to see what we're putting out there, then that's a good way to hear from us.
Thank you so much, Kate and Liam. That was really wonderful. Speaking for myself, I find myself thinking throughout your presentation how many opportunities there are for us to learn from what you're doing, because you're doing some things so well that we have struggled with a little bit. We have these wonderful catalogs of designs, but we haven't done nearly as good a job as you have of really incorporating feedback from the end user and showing how it actually works for them and how effective it is and those benefits. So I love the case that I love the fact that you are so user focused. That really is something that I'd like to see us do more of. And you talked about also communicating that feedback directly with professionals, prosthetists and other types of professionals that we working with people with these conditions. And I think that's also something that we could do a much better job of. We've made various attempts at establishing those types of connections, but I don't think we've figured out that formula yet. So there are a number of areas here where I'd love to do sort of a deeper dive into now we understand what you're doing and it's wonderful. Now we'd like to understand how you're doing some of these things. And I think we could learn a lot from that.
Yeah, well, it takes time, and we're still figuring it out, as we go.
Yeah.
But we'd love to, chat about it and yeah, share practices as well, as to what we're doing. But it's taken us time, I would say, to really build this, because everything is authentic. So we've been building this collection of reviews for over 2 years.
Yeah.
But but every one is very real, and so it's definitely taken time, but I think along the way it's given us a lot of credibility, to
Yeah.
be able to speak to these communities, especially with health professionals and things.
Now you noticed earlier at the beginning of the meeting when I was going through some of the posts, I showed an example of some of the state-run assistive technology programs and how they have these catalogs of open source designs that are 3D printable. And I think some of those are somewhat analogous to some of the devices that you showed. And I wonder if there might be opportunities there for our volunteers to make some of these devices, 3D print them free of charge, so that your audience doesn't need to purchase them, that they have an opportunity to get some of those devices made free of charge. There could be some interesting collaboration opportunities there.
Yeah. I think another important thing could be comparing designs, because there are so many designs out there, and the bag carriers are one of them. There are so many different designs for those. The question is, how do you pick which one works? And
That's right.
in that moment, do you go through a process of testing them with people, or do you just print one? And then, how do you make sure that sort of the best design gets pushed to the top? And I don't know how that works in the 3D printing community. But that's another interesting possibility for helping to compare potentially different products.
Absolutely. I agree.
Yeah.
Anyone else have
Liam, did
questions?
Yeah, or
Jonathan?
I'm only excited to collaborate further. I really do you think it's important? And yeah, something I've been thinking about is, since Keelan did their presentation yesterday. I'm not really sure how to say or how the right words to say, but we um in the way of like prioritizing individuals, we're also, I mean, kind of the most important thing is the interaction between the individual and the product. And in that way, that it's not so much about the brand of the product, but how how the person like gets the use out of it. I get maybe I'm just repeating myself, so I apologize if I am, but I think it's really important to think about how the sort of brand around the product is not as important as the videos that Kate was saying. The company, all of our reviews that people can see how the muscles that the person uses in interacting with the thing and what their strength is like, how their situation compares to their
Definitely. Yeah. It for us, that was one of the first things that we found from a focus group that we did. That in so because we are a cross disability platform, we know that not every product is right for every person. And that's why we thought that giving a video to show the interaction with the product and then describing it in different ways would help people understand how their body, their disability will interact, or how their experience with it might be. So somebody, like Liam said, somebody told us that seeing how somebody's arms and muscles move when they use that product, that was really important to him. And so while it would have been easier not to do videos for every product, that was something we really dug in and committed to. And the reality is that there are so many different brands out there, and we don't sell these products, we link to them. We want people to find them where they can find them at the lowest cost, or that they can find a variation of that design that works for them. We don't care. We hope that our information is going to let them decide, yes, this is going to work for me, no, it's not going to work for me, or maybe yes, but with a different feature, it will work for me. And so that's why I think Liam's saying, like, the brand isn't quite as important. It's more seeing that interaction and knowing how it works. Do think we see that the brand, there is quality associated with that and a commitment to customer service if a product doesn't work for you, that kind of thing. But yeah, that's a great point, Liam, about the interaction there.
Yeah, I you man, it wasn't a reviewer, Jessica. I believe we had a reviewer. We talked about the keyhole door closing device, and it's essentially, I'm sure everyone on this call can speak to it more than me, but it's like hard plastic in the shape of a T that attaches to a door, and allows people to close doors more easily. And then we had a reviewer essentially do the same sort of thing with some yarn. And the T-pole costs around $40 on Amazon versus free yarn. Doing the same kind of thing, resulting in the same thing for people in some situations. So I think I think that kind of thing is really encapsulates the direction that we went at.
And that's a great comparison there, Liam. The T-Pool product is a really cool product that is made out of Canada, I believe. I don't know if you've heard of it, but let me see if I can find it here to show you. Made out of Canada by somebody who has a disability. I believe he is a wheelchair user. But it's true, it is a more expensive product, I think, because he really is involved. It's a small business. And this is the product. It's a small attachment to a door that makes it much easier. In fact, I'll show you the video here. Here's Liam
All right,
with the T-pool user. See if we can do this. Oh, 9. Hang on, that didn't work. Sorry. Let's try this again. Oh boy. Sorry about that.
Or closer to this end, you may want to place the T-bar closer to this end of the door. You should have.
Hang on here, let's get that back.
But if you need to be closer to this end,
I can't enlarge it,
T-bar closer
but
to
maybe
this
you can see it. We're gonna skip to here.
I'll take out that camera work. Oh, the door's open. Hold on.
Hello, everyone.
Look at that door. It's so open. Oh.
Not anymore.
So there's just a quick example of that product. And then what Liam was comparing it to was this door pull hack of using a piece of yarn. Here's the video demonstration of that.
Hi everybody, this is Jessica. I just wanted to show you how I use my door pull hack to close my door. My door is a little hard to close, but this works really well. I hope that helps. Bye.
So that's just a comparison of what we try to share because, you know, we think people deserve to know, you know, what's out there. So.
That's great. Well, we have just a couple minutes left. I do have another meeting starting in 5 minutes. So does anybody else have questions or comments for Kate or Liam?
Hi, Jeremy.
Hi, Tanara.
How are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm fine. How much time I don't see you?
Yeah,
Sorry, I'm so busy lately.
I'm sure. Yeah.
Nice to meet you, Kate and Liam. I'm Tainara. I'm a occupational therapist and I'm the coordinator of global health in e-NABLE. And I really like to know your job. Here, I'm from Brazil. That's why my English is a little bit different between yours. So I work here in Brazil, developing technology too. So I already followed you on the Instagram, so we can talk later because now we don't have so much time. But it will be a pleasure know you more and understand your work. And if you need something or you can talk about something, I work here with people with disabilities too, and I'm always trying to develop something, but with 3D printing and use a lot of materials, and so we can talk later. But nice to meet you guys. Thank you very much for the opportunity to listen to you.
Nice to meet you too. Thanks so much. Look forward to being in touch.
Okay, well, it doesn't seem like we have any other questions. I want to thank you, Kate and Liam, so much for joining us. This really, like I said, I think we have a lot to learn from you, and I hope we can follow up and talk a little bit more about how you've approached some of those things that we'd like to be able to do better and how we might be able to partner maybe on some of those assistive devices that can be 3D printed. So definitely hope we can talk further.
Thanks so much.
All right, thank
Yeah.
you. And thank you all for joining. We're going to go ahead and wrap up for today. We'll be back in, let's see, I think we're doing these the first and third Fridays now. So I guess our next one will be the first Friday in October, and I hope to see everyone then. Thanks, everyone.